All right, hi everyone. My name is Nick. I'm the founder of guidedtradingmeditations.com, and that was originally what this whole page was about. And I'm still going to create a lot of content about that. I've recently released my first course, which I think is really helpful, and I may create videos on that. But to start 2023, I decided I'd do something a little bit different. I'd get myself back into trading. My kind of very short story, I guess, is that I traded for a long time. Periods I didn't have edge, periods I did have edge, and towards the end of my first kind of attempt at trading, I was finding success, but then the edge I was trading stopped working for a bit, and I realized that I needed to take a bit of a break for my own good. I really enjoyed creating some of the content I did originally for the site, sent it to some friends, and they were like, "This really helps." One guy in particular used the original meditations I created and just absolutely took off. And I believe he still uses the same kind of approach today, which is really cool. I've used them myself, they work. And, uh, so I really enjoy creating that. I put a lot more time into creating my website and my business over the last sort of like 6 to 9 months. Didn't have as much time for trading and okay, it's probably time now everything's up and running to get back into it. And a few of the students that I started coaching on their mental game and finding their mental game weaknesses were talking about funded accounts. I began looking more into them and began to understand how beneficial they can be. So I thought I'd sort of jump on the bandwagon a bit and do a funded account challenge or whatever. And today is the ninth trading day of the year, 2023, and I hit the target for Bulinox. I'm going to go with Bullinox, it sounds cooler. Now, I did have to reset the account one time. We'll go through that um, in later on in this mini series. But essentially, I think I've traded, I think, a total of like 13 days with them and have hit the target, which is really cool. And yeah, by the time I get through this series, I'd have signed the contract and all of that and be trading on the funded account. So yeah, it's going to be a really fun little series and hopefully will help other people who are trying to pass the account challenges or the combines or whatever you're trying to do, really give you a bit of insight into the best way of doing that, or at least how I did it. So in this mini series, I've got 5 episodes planned. The first one is going to be why I went with Bulenox. I'm not going to touch on the others because I've got no experience with them, but I know the others also have their pros. I'm just going to talk about why I chose this. Episode 2, we're going to look at how I created an edge and the backtesting I did. I'm not going to go into the specific edge that I trade because this isn't really a channel for strategies. I'm more just going to talk about roughly what it looks like and how I went about backtesting and gathering data. Then I'm going to look at how I began paper trading and refining, and this is something that most people don't do, and this is a really important step, and this step is actually how I ended up trading much larger size for the evaluation, which we'll get into in episode 4, and also my journaling. And then finally, episode 5, which will be the real fun one, which is how I hit the target because it was quite fun hitting it. I'll talk about some of the emotions that you go through or that I went through, the frustrations, the so close and then being pulled back and everything, and also how I plan to trade the account. And hopefully by the time I get to episode 5, I'll be trading a live account anyway. So yeah, enough of that. Let's look at Bulinox and why I went with them. I'm not affiliated in any way at the moment with Bulinox. Hopefully, I can get some discount deals in the future for people, but for the moment, it's just a case of this is who I went with. The others have their own pros. Yeah. Um, Essentially, I looked for a few, and the thing I liked most about Bulinox was, if we go down to their accounts, is that there was only one, or there is only one evaluation period, right? I did the $50,000 one, profit target of $3,000, maximum drawdown of $2,500. Once you hit that 3,000, you get the account to trade. Now, on a lot of the others, there's maybe 2 steps. There's a longer period that you have to do it in. For Bulinox, it's a minimum of 10 trading days, so I have to wait one more day. I have to put on one trade on Tuesday because the market's not open Monday. 10 trading days. If you hit $3,000, you get the $50,000 account. The way I look at these accounts is I don't care about the 25,000, the 50,000, 100. I don't care about that. What I look at is the drawdown and the maximum contracts. These are the key things, right? The reason for that is if you have a drawdown of $2,500, you have a $2,500 account. The $50,000 is completely pointless, and it is a slight marketing thing. You know, oh, trade with $50,000. No, right? It doesn't really matter whether you have $50,000 or $5 million. If you have a $2,500 of drawdown, that's your account size, right? Now, what I saw was essentially the difference between the $50,000 account and the $100,000 account is therefore only $500, and it costs a bit more. Crucially, the maximum profit or the profit target is $6,000. So you need to make twice as much to earn $500 more risk. And it's also going to cost you more money to start off with, which to me made no sense. So I was choosing between the 50,000 and the 150,000. And again, the drawdowns, 4,500. This is a decent little jump up. The profit target, 9,000. Okay. It didn't make sense to me. So that was why I went with the $50,000 account. I will say, do not go with this price here. You can shop around for really good deals. I think I got one which gave me like 75% off or something like that, which meant that I only ended up paying $50 for this. So in terms of the how much I spent, I paid $50 for this. I reset it once, which I think cost $75, and then you pay the one-time fee, which you're going to. Now, the crucial thing, if you do decide to go with Bulenox, is do not, well, you can go for either. I would strongly suggest do not go with option 1. Go for the option 2. And I'll just talk about the differences between the two. So if you have option 1, what this essentially is, you can trade more contracts to start off with, which is great, right? I think you can trade more contracts. Maybe you can't actually. That doesn't really matter. The big drawdown here is if you go $2,500 in profit at any point, not realized, this is unrealized. If you go $2,500 in profit, you have no more drawdown. That's like, okay, so now if you go back to break even, you're done. Okay? And this just makes it more likely that you're going to lose, right? These accounts, I'll be completely honest, the way they make their money is they want traders to not pass the evaluation. So they set rules in a way to make as many people fail, even though they didn't really fail. This is about as aggressive as they can really get. In other words, if you're in a position, that position is up $500, then that 2,500 risk you started with goes to 2,000, and it does not go back down. If you go up $1,000 in profit, now it's a 1,500. If you go 1,500 in profit, now it's 1,000. Now, what this means is, if you do have a really good move higher, but it doesn't hit your profit target, and it comes all the way back and you take a loss, you have potentially lost $1,000 worth of drawdown, and you've also lost, say, $400, $500, which is horrible, if I'm being honest. So I would strongly suggest going for the end of day account, which essentially takes the profit at the end of the day. It takes the max. So let's say that at the end of the day, your account is $1,500 in profit. Now you go draw down from there, right? So you now have essentially $1,000 of loss that you can have. You lose 1,500, that's where it's at. That's still kind of aggressive if you're asking me. I would prefer if they just left it at a 2.5K, but like I said, they need to make money, and this is how these things survive. So I went with the end of day qualification count on the $50,000. I'll go through real quick the breakdowns of it. So you've got the maximum drawdown on the day, which is $1,100, and I did, spoiler alert, I hit that once. I kind of wanted to see what would happen if I hit it, to see if they cancelled the account or if they just said no more trading today, come back tomorrow. They cancel the account, is what it is. So yeah. And yeah, and then in terms of the big thing people talk about is the payouts, right? I'll be honest, I wouldn't even look at the payouts is the last thing you want to look at. You want to make sure you can actually feasibly hit the targets, and that the targets are sensible, and that the drawdown stuff isn't horrible. Check the fees. So the fee, that I will now pay is $148. So in this respect, just as a sort of like I'm paying $148 here. I paid $50 for the account. I had to reset it once for 70, so I'm going to pay a total of $270 to get $2,500 initially of risk. Obviously, if I make 2,000, then that drawdown, but essentially it's $2,500. So that's the cost of that. I would look. I'd always look at things like the master account rules. One thing that is big is that once you have hit the $2,600 of profit in the master account, then the scaling drawdown, if inches, it will now stay at the break-even point. So what that means is, let's say I go and make $5,000. If I lose that $5,000 and go back to break-even, I lose the account, which is, I think, kind of fair enough. If I make $1,500, I can go to a negative 1,000 and then I lose the account. Right? And I quite like that. I was a little bit wary to start off with that would keep on going. I could only ever have a drawdown 2.5K, but that isn't the case. So that's really good. I'm kind of botching this. I know I'm not really going through it very methodically. The maximum daily risk also gets removed once you have made the 2,600. And then the withdrawals, like, you have to trade for a month essentially, and then you can take out between 1,000 and 1,500, and then you have to trade another 12 days. I think it's 12 days. Yeah, 12 days, and then it's again between 1,000 and 1,500, and then again 1,000, 1,500. But then from the fourth onwards, you're good to go. And again, the reason these sites do this is to give them the best chance of someone blowing their account. If I went and made 5K on my first trade, well, I could just take it out. No, you have to trade for a whole month. You have to show that you're profitable. And the whole point of this, one, is so that they can make the money that they lose for the people who are successful. But it kind of works because long term, you can get, and this is a thing that really interested me. Let me see if it's over here. Let's see exactly where it is. Here it is. So the master account is intended for advanced training and paid based on performance. Fine, whatever. Traders with proven results orientated for a long-term relationship would receive an individual basis a unique offer from our capital partners. I don't think I read that correctly. The conditions and terms are discussed individually of each trader. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of this, but what this essentially suggests is that if you prove that you are profitable over a longer period of time, then an actual firm, their actual partners, will come in and potentially provide you with a better offer. You don't have to go with them, but there is that potential. So for me, this kind of like ticked all the boxes of it's quick to get qualified. Go here, quick to get qualified and pass the account if you do it correctly. It's only once. The trailing stops are reasonable enough. It's cheap, right? You pay if you fail once, you pay about $270, I think it is. The rules for the master account make sense. And there's potential to get a long-term agreement with with their capital partners. No idea who these guys are. I could probably go and find out, right? These are all positives for me. So it's fairly simple. It's why I went with them. I didn't do a huge amount of research. I'm sure there are others that are great out there. I know that others do have the whole pass step 1 and then pass step 2 and now you have an account. And I hate that because all you're doing is giving yourself another chance to fail. They are, the company who did that, I think their reasoning was this has proven to show that traders who pass both are more likely to be sustainable long term. What they're actually saying is we don't want people to get through luckily and then start. We want to get people to do it twice, which I don't really get, if I'm being honest, but that is what it is. So yeah, in terms of, like I said, in terms of fees as well, this one, just to clarify, you pay one fee, which is really cool. So yeah, that's why I went with Bulenox. There's a few things you have to set up It's not like you can't just go, oh, I'm going to link it to TradingView or whatever. You do have to set a few things up, but it's all pretty self-explanatory. Um, you have to watch a video, and it's pretty simple setup and everything. That's why I went with Bulenox. I would suggest to go with them, but I would also suggest to shop around and look for really good deals. Look on YouTube for people who are doing this because they often have deals. I may well look for a deal. If I do get a deal in the future, I will put it down below. So if you're watching this the day it comes out, there's probably not going to be, but if you come back in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time or whenever, there might be something down there, so check it out. But yeah, that's the first episode. We can go through the next bit. This is going to be a lot less exciting than how much money I made. You know, I really want to have this as a mini series on an actual step by step so that somebody can watch these and go, okay, I'm going to go with this company or choose another company based on what we talk about. And then the steps you need to do. So creating the edge, back testing, paper trading, refining. Don't pay any money. Don't go for this funded account until you get to that point where you can. So hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for episode 2 coming soon. Thanks for watching till the end of the video. Just adding a quick piece in here to let you know what extra services I have to help you become a better trader. On my site, guidedtradingmeditations.com, you can find my new course, The Trading Blueprint, which gives you a full guide on how to create an edge, test it, start trading it, and scale up. There are sections included on how to find weaknesses in your trading and then how to resolve them, as well as many other bits of information that I've gathered in my years of experience. The aim of the course is to make you a fully independent trader so you don't need to pay ever-growing monthly fees to be in a chat room. There's no specific edge needed. You can use this in any market with any trading style. If you're at a stage in your trading where you're struggling and would prefer a more in-depth look at your own personal weaknesses and ongoing support, you can also book one-on-one coaching with me on the site. There's a cool breakdown on the screen right now, so pause the video and read through it, and if it's something you're interested in, check it out. There's a ton of other content on the site that I'm really proud of and I've really enjoyed making, so if you're interested, please check it out. I'm sure there'll be something on there that can help your trading. You can reach me on Twitter. My handle is in the description down below. You can send me a DM if you'd like any more information. And make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with future videos.